What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast where we teach you the cheat codes to the game of life. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and I am really excited about today's episode, which is how to make a bucket list in summer 2020. Now, I've been doing a ton of research on this topic, and I'm really excited to share what I've found. Now, before I get started, I want to address what's happening in the world. I want to say that the murder of George Floyd is awful, is heartbreaking, and I understand why people are angry. I understand why people are protesting. And also, not only should that one officer face charges of murder and manslaughter, but those other 3 officers should face charges as well. Now, with that being said, coronavirus is still around, y'all. So, because of that, you need to wear a mask. You need to practice social distancing from those who aren't wearing masks. And if you're protesting, make sure that you're protesting peacefully, first of all, but also that you're protesting safely. And this goes for anybody who's hanging out in general. If you're at the lake, whatever you're doing, make sure that you are being safe because coronavirus is still a thing. And we need to make sure that a second wave doesn't happen. And we also need to make sure that we do not get sick and that we do not get our loved ones sick as well. Now, before I get started, I'm going to use a quote from a friend of mine named Jessica Thompson, who was in an accident and she lost functionality of one of her arms. Now, when this happened, the mantra that she said to herself is, what do I have? What do I still have? And that's something that we need to ask ourselves during this time. Yeah, things aren't the same, but what do you still have and what can you still do? Focus on the positive and focus on what is still possible, which is a lot of things. Now, as you plan your summer, remember this. When you are indoors, the risk of transmission is highest indoors, so avoid crowds inside. If someone is giving you some problems, take it outside. That's right, take it outside, and also don't fist fight someone unless you're both wearing masks, and also don't hit them in the face because you might knock their mask off. Matter of fact, just kick them. Matter of fact, just make fun of their mom from 6 feet away. These are all jokes, of course, but be careful as you are indoors and be cognizant of the amount of risk that happens when you are indoors, which leads me to talking about being outdoors. I highly recommend being outdoors as much as possible this summer. You can go hike, you can go camp, you can go jogging, you can go to the pool, you can go to the lake, practice social distancing. I was at the river recently and I made sure to wear a mask because when I was on the trail, people were crossing paths with me. And I did not want to expose myself to coronavirus when I was out there. Now, as you think about being outdoors, think about things that you can buy that will help you to be outdoors, that will help you to have joy, and also enjoy your time out there. So, for example, I bought an inflatable kayak recently. I haven't been spending a lot of money on a lot of the regular things that I do. So I said, what will bring me joy? An inflatable kayak. So I went and bought one. It was like $130 on Amazon. I love it and it's bringing me joy. So think about things you can buy. A soccer ball, obviously you can practice social distancing and still hang out with people. Maybe you buy a bike or you ride your bike. Think about things that you can do outdoors. And remember, Mother Nature is your friend, except for during earthquakes, tornadoes, and mudslides and avalanches and other stuff too. All right, so outdoors. Enjoy the outdoors. Now, as you make your summer bucket list, I'm going to give you some categories that I found that would be helpful for you to make your summer bucket list. I'm going to put all the categories in the show notes. You can come up with your own categories yourself, but these are some pretty good ones. Now, adventure. Adventure is the first category. Maybe you want to go and try some stand-up paddle boating. Maybe you want to do some stand-up paddle boating yoga. That's a thing. Maybe you want to do a paddle boat race or a kayak race. Maybe you want to go on a bike race with some family members. Maybe you want to do a scavenger hunt. Maybe you want to pull a prank on someone. Maybe you want to go night swimming. And right now you can't go to a concert, but maybe if you play an instrument, you could put on a concert for people. These all fall under the category of adventure. Choose your own adventure. Think about the things that you want to do this summer and write them down in this category. The next one, travel. Now, as you travel, make sure that you travel safely. Make sure that you are desanitizing everything. I have some travel plans to go out of state on a road trip. Maybe you want to do some traveling in-state. Maybe you want to go check out some cool parks, maybe with your family or whoever you're quarantining with. Maybe you want to go travel around your city. Maybe you want to go discover new parks. There's a park near my house. I've driven by it 100 times. And recently I biked through it and there was so much to it. There was this hidden trail behind it. It was really cool. So maybe you want to go and discover things that are close to you, which I guess this falls under the adventure category as well. But at the end of the day, travel is all about adventure and exploring. So make sure that you do some of that this summer. Another category, your physical and your health challenge category. Now, I want to take 40 seconds off my mile time. Right now, I run a 4-minute mile. I would like to run a 3-minute mile. I'm just kidding. I don't run that well. But if I wanted to take 40 seconds off my mile and I had 8 weeks to do it, in order to take 40 seconds off in 8 weeks, you only need to take off 5 seconds a week. And if you're running 5 times a day, you only need to take off 1 second a day. Now, because I'm not an avid runner, that's very realistic. And it's important to have realistic goals. It's important that our goals challenge us, but also that they're not so lofty that we'll never get there. So that's a physical challenge. I would like to go on a 20-mile bike ride. I would like to go mountain biking. Maybe you want to run a virtual 5K or a virtual 10K. Maybe you want to gain 10 pounds. Maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. Now, here's the thing about weight loss. Make sure, number one, that you're doing it safely. But number two, water is your friend. One of my former guests, Chris Rudin, who is a fitness guru, said if you want to lose weight, drink 8 to 16 ounces of water 30 minutes before your meal, and that will help fill you up so that you don't eat as much. And also, veggies are your friend. Fill up on veggies. All that fiber will fill up your stomach and you won't eat as much. And with weight loss, it's all about portion control. So if you can maintain your portions by doing these two things, it'll be very helpful. Another category, DIY, do it yourself. So for example, maybe for this Father's Day, you want to make your dad a present instead of buying him something. Maybe you want to make him a collage, a photo collage. Maybe you want to make him something that speaks to something that he loves. Like maybe he's a big fan of Ohio State or Michigan or whatever college he went to. Father's Day is a perfect time to do some DIY. I saw this TikTok video once. I'm not a big TikTok guy, but I was watching this young lady and she got a bunch of painter's tape, made a bunch of geometric shapes on her wall, and then she started painting inside those geometric shapes with different colors, and then she pulled off the tape off and she had this really cool mural at the end of it, and it was really impressive. And so that's another DIY thing you can do. Maybe you can make a cornhole set. Well, guess what? You just made something, but also you made something that makes your life better and that makes it fun. Now, besides DIY, I have another category that's related, and I'm going to call that category projects. Now, projects are like maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to start a TikTok account and be more regular with it. Maybe you want to redecorate your entire room. Maybe you want to declutter. For me, myself, I have a basement that needs to be decluttered and cleaned. And so I'm going to Marie Kondo the whole thing out and make it beautiful down there. Now, home improvement falls under this category. If you want to do something around the house that's home improvement, that would fall under the category of project. And the big difference between DIY and project is a project is something that will take a lot more than just an afternoon to do it. So you might want to have a separate category, or you might want to make it the same category. That's up to you. Now, when it comes to projects and DIY, Pinterest is your friend. Pinterest is your best friend. Pinterest is not just for middle-aged women. Pinterest is for everyone. And a side note, if you really want to see inside someone's soul, don't look at their Instagram, don't look at their Snapchat, don't look at their Facebook. Look at their Pinterest, okay? Now, I found some really cool projects that I want to do on Pinterest, and I found some just random fun things like a water balloon piñata. It just sounds cool, right? So I'm going to put a couple links for summer bucket lists on Pinterest in the show notes so you can check them out and get some ideas for yourself. Also, when it comes to DIY and when it comes to projects, you have to be resourceful. Now, 3 weeks ago, I was really desperate to work out. Usually what I do is I do some cardio and then I lift weights a few times a week, but the gyms are closed, so I don't have any weights at my house. And so I started looking for weights. Well, guess what? Weights are either sold out or very expensive right now. And I told myself, I'm not going to spend $160 on some weights. And so what can I do? Well, what I did is I went to Home Depot. I bought 2 buckets. I bought an 80-pound bag of cement. I mixed the cement in the 2 buckets. And now I have 2 40-pound weights that I can work out with. And that's what you got to do. You got to be resourceful. So Pinterest and YouTube are both your best friend when you are doing DIY and when you are doing projects. Now, another category, education. Maybe there's stuff you got to do for school. Maybe you got to do some summer reading. And you also have education that's not for school. For me, I want to read 4 books this summer. And I don't even know what those 4 books are, so I'm just going to leave 4 slots to fill in those books. Now, when it comes to education, maybe you want to learn how to code. There you go. Put that on your bucket list. Maybe you want to learn how to drive stick shift. That's also education, technically, right? Also, another category is hobbies and skills. So maybe you want to learn how to sew. A bunch of people are on Etsy making their own masks and making a bunch of money. Maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe you want to learn guitar or learn certain songs on the guitar. Maybe you want to make beats on the computer. Maybe you want to learn some photography. Maybe you want to learn how to cook, or at least learn to cook a couple of different meals. Now, let me tell you something, guys. If you know how to cook and you learn how to cook, that will impress the ladies, okay? Guarantee you on that. And also, women, if you learn how to cook, obviously that's going to impress guys as well. So, something you need to learn. And you don't have to learn a lot. You just have to learn how to make a couple specialty dishes and make sure you do it for the gram. Put it on Instagram. Show everybody what you're up to. Boom, there you go. Your social points just went up. Now, when it comes to hobbies and skills, I have a friend who got a DVD when he was in college about how to make animal balloon art. Now, what that guy's done with that skill is he has developed an entire business of animal balloons. His name's Brian Getz, and you can check him out at prettyfunnyballoons.com. And here's the thing about hobbies and skills. Something that you pick up now might end up being your future occupation. And that's really exciting to think that we have an entire summer to just start tinkering with stuff and figuring out what we can do well and what we want to do, and then either do it for enjoyment or also do it for a profession one day. Now, as you are learning, there are plenty of free resources online. Yale University has a free happiness course. Ivy League colleges have put up free courses online. There are many others. I'm sure you know about a lot of them. So as you look into things that you want to learn, do your research and figure out what they are. Okay, another category, friends, family, relationships. Now, if you want to see certain friends over the summer, and it's safe to do so, then put down the list of people that you want to see. If there's certain family members that you want to hang out with, maybe there's someone in your family you want to throw a party for. And you could even throw a Zoom party if you really needed to. But what people do you want to be around this summer? And also, what things do you want to do with them? Maybe you want to go on a picnic. Maybe you want to kick the soccer ball around. Again, social distancing. And maybe this even includes your pets. Maybe you want to take your dog, paint him like a tiger. I don't know, but have an entire category for the people that are most important to you. Another one, finances. Now, finances can be things that you acquire, like things you want to buy, like I bought a kayak. They can also be the amount of money you want to get. Now, when it comes to jobs in the summer of 2020, the job market is really tough. I understand that. So maybe this summer you don't get an actual job, but maybe you do some odd jobs. Maybe you do some stuff for people around your neighborhood. And if there's something that you want to get, always remember that you can barter. So let's say, for example, somebody has something that you want. You can trade them something for that something. Or maybe you can do something for them, like mow their lawn or do some sort of other odd jobs for them in order to get the thing that you want. And remember to be resourceful as you think about getting money or getting things that will make your life better. Also, maybe you want to volunteer. Maybe there's an organization that you want to help. Maybe it's not even an organization. Maybe it's a family member that you want to volunteer for. Maybe your grandma or one of your uncles has a bunch of yard work and you want to do it for them to help them out. Maybe you have a neighbor that's disabled and there's certain things that you want to do for them. If this sounds of interest to you, then make a category for it. So that's all the basic categories that I have to share. Now, as you make your bucket list, show it to a friend. I was watching a YouTube video about this, and the lady in the video said, find a partner in joy. It's always fun to dream with people. It's always fun to share the things that are most on your heart with the people you care about most. So show a friend or a family member what your list is, and they might give you good feedback on it. They might be like, hey, that's not a great idea, or even, here's a better idea. Now, as you make your bucket list, there might be some deadlines you need to hit. For example, Father's Day is June 21st this year. So if you have something on your list for Father's Day, make sure that you plan accordingly. And also, if you're planning a July the 4th celebration, plan accordingly and make those deadlines. Also, it's important right now to have a calendar and to be able to see all 3 of the months of summer. So if you have a calendar, what you can do is you can tear up June, July, and August, put it all right there so you can see all the days of summer. But if you don't have a calendar, you can print one offline. And if you don't have a printer, you can make your own calendar. Like I said before, be resourceful. And remember, you have 60 days of summer, or maybe 74 days of summer, or somewhere in between that. So for each category, as you make your to-do list, you might have things that you must do, that you need to do, that you really want to do. And you also have things that you would like to do, but they're not that important. Well, what you can do on your list in each category is you can draw a line and then put all the must-do stuff above the line and all the things you kind of want to do below the line. And I would give myself a little bit of space for each category, just in case you come up with an idea later on and you want to slide it in there. Also, what I recommend is that you do a rough draft on an 8x11 sheet of paper. You do a final copy on an 8x11 sheet of paper, and then you put it up on a poster in large print, in a Sharpie or in pen. Make sure that the Sharpie doesn't bleed through, and that you hang it eye level somewhere in your room that you will see it all the time. And as you go, you can cross things off. And what crossing things off does for us psychologically is it makes us feel that we're making progress. And as we make progress, what ends up happening is we feel like we're going somewhere in life, and it's really good for you psychologically to do this. Now, if you don't have a poster board, you could take individual 8x11 sheets of paper and make them each one category, and then put it up on your wall and make sure that it's at eye level and cross things off for each category. Now, as you make your bucket list, there are going to be things that are very small, that are individual items that you can get done in a couple of hours or in an afternoon. But there are also things that are big. And as you plan big things, you need to break down those big things into smaller steps. So if you want to make a cornhole set, you got to watch a YouTube tutorial, then you got to buy the materials, then you got to get the materials cut, and then you have to nail them together, and then you might have to paint them at the end. So something like that is a bigger project. And as you try to tackle it, make sure that you know that you have steps that you have to break down in order to make that happen. All right, the last thing is, as you make your list and you put it up on your final copy, you might want to prioritize the things that are most important and put them at the top of the list, and the less important things lower on the list. Now, as you make your list, think about what you want to accomplish this summer, think about what you want to experience, and also think about things that you want to see or places you want to go, and also things that you want to get. But as you make your list, think about this. And as I said before, I'm going to put a couple links in the show notes so that you can get some ideas, but also so you can see how you can do this yourself. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you are enjoying this podcast, if you are getting a lot from it, please subscribe. Please leave a rating and possibly a review on Apple Podcasts. All that helps with the show. It helps to get more people interested in it, but it also helps to get more high-quality guests. All right, so that's the episode. I hope you're well wherever you are, mentally and physically. And until next time, peace out. Bye.